We are here in the real Matrix. This is the Angry Patriot, along with always special guest Dale Hellestrae. I brought him along for probably about half of the shows. You're starting to kind of clue in.
Yeah.
During one of the shows, you had talked about, I think I mentioned the fact that George Bush, a major anti-American traitor, criminal.
Yeah, you mentioned that. That made no sense.
Yeah. And, you know, I think this gets to the point of this show, which is there is so much information we don't know.
Right.
I'm going to play you some clips coming up here, but point is, I guess I should preface the clip, right? And the fact is, Bush's either father or grandfather, I don't know how, well, which Bush? I mean, George Bush Sr.'s father, George Bush Jr.'s grandfather,
Okay.
Prescott Bush, was he was a big financier of the Nazis. And that's really where they made all their family money. That's where it kind of started. The Bush family, they were just regular old boobs. And Bush married into this family with great money.
Okay.
And that's where all this kind of started.
My dad used to always tell me it's just as easy to fall in love with a rich girl as a poor girl.
Yeah, but
I didn't listen.
You're doing fine. You're doing fine. But
I thought they got their money through oil.
well, and then they went into actually I think they've gotten their money just through coercion and evil, shady dealings.
Okay.
And we'll probably see a little bit. Why don't we do this? Why don't we play the first clip?
Okay.
It's just a basic background. There's an investigative reporter. Some of it's kind of dry, how he gets the information, blah, blah, blah. But really just focus on the details of what they were doing. Actually, let me point out, the key to this is before World War II, early 30s, mid-30s, 1930s, Bush's father, with a bunch of these rich lunatics, which I've told you, they're the ones kind of trying to ruin our country.
Right.
They're the ones behind everything. Well, a bunch of those, like J.P. Morgan and the DuPonts, those names, you've heard of those people.
Yeah.
Huge money. They tried to pull a coup and take over the country and kill FDR and put their people in place. And it was feted out by this general, and I forgot his name. It's going to come back up. I think they'll mention it and they'll talk about it. He was a fantastic, very popular general in the army that they went to say, hey, we want to do this. And he went along with it and then blew the whistle on him. The point we'll probably get to after this is when they did this, none of these people were ever, nothing became of it. None of them went to jail.
Even though the general outed them.
Correct. Yeah, I tell you what, instead of me just going on and on and on unintelligently, why don't we play the clip of this person who ferreted this out, found out this information, and is trying to get it out, which nobody knows. So fire away.
Had to do with the hearings of the McCormick-Dickstein Committee of November 1934. Show that Prescott Bush and the DuPont family, the Remington family, and J.P. Morgan tried to overthrow the U.S. government, assassinate FDR, and put a Hitler-style fascist state in place. I have in my possession testimony from the McCormick-Dickstein Committee in November of 1934 by one of the fascist plotters that they were going to follow Hitler's model exactly and impose martial law on the United States, round up unemployed people that were worthless to the economy and troublemakers and Jews and put them into internment camps. And their plan was, if necessary, to exterminate the people that could not be part of the effort. The only reason the coup attempt in 1934 didn't succeed is that they hired the wrong general to lead it, General Smedley Butler, the great Marine hero, two-time Congressional Medal of Honor winner, who worked with the plotters just long enough to be able to identify who they were and then blew the whistle on them to Congress. Incredibly, after being warned by the FBI and the Justice Department and the Treasury Department to cease and desist in their Nazi dealings, they had continued them until 1951. There had been 28 additional seizures of Nazi assets and Nazi business fronts between late 1942 and 1951, and that they had moved Nazi assets into Switzerland, Brazil, Argentina, and Panama, and they had continued to do business with their primary Nazi patron, who was Fritz Thyssen, who backed Hitler beginning in 1921 and who was the wealthiest man in Germany, and a steel and coal baron who, with his partner Friedrich Flick, essentially built the Nazi war machine along with I.G. Farben. In 1951, when Fritz Thyssen died in Argentina, Union Banking Corporation was liquidated by the U.S. government, and Prescott Bush received $1.5 million for his holdings in his Nazi business, and that was the beginning of the Bush family fortune for all intents and purposes. George Bush doesn't take his philosophical foundation from the Bible or the teachings of Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount. George Bush takes his inspiration from what he learned in Skull and Bones and from the Thule Society that Hitler and Goebbels and Goring cut their teeth in, Bohemian Grove, these evil organizations that perpetrate the ugly things that these criminals are doing to this country for which they must.
Did you catch that, Dale?
Yes, I did.
You catch that? So George, the Bush's father, great-grandfather, whichever one you want to talk about, was in on a plot to murder the president, assassinate the president, and throw in a fascist regime. Now, wouldn't you think that's important historical information that you should have learned about in high school, in college, somewhere down the line?
Why are these things available, but yet nobody's gone back and paid attention to them?
Because we're in the real matrix, and they keep this information from us. They control the narrative. He had to go through historical information in the Library of Congress to pull this out. Wouldn't you think that's important enough information that you should learn in school? Don't you think that's important enough information that when George Bush was becoming more influential in politics,
right,
someone would point out, hey, this guy's dad tried to overthrow the government. Don't you think that's important? Don't you think people would be interested in that?
Well,
and
between the two Bushes, why did that not ever come up?
Because they control the media.
So are you
mainstream media?
Are you telling me that older Bush president is different than younger Bush president?
No,
they're one and the same.
I'm saying they're both globalist, Satanist criminals. That's what I'm saying. And, you know, again, we're just really going to touch on it on this show. There's more information that, unfortunately, I'm not prepared with.
Well, where do you go to find that?
You can find that on Rumble. Most of the stuff I get for the show is on Rumble. And probably what I need to do, and Riley might have it, you can look on Rumble and then look up the Bush family. Or in this case, I forgot what video it was from. I apologize. But it's out there. It's out there. Listen, forget about what video to look up. Look up the General Smedley Butler. Is that his name? Smedley? I mean, this guy must have been a fantastic leader, because who goes by the name Smedley and people will follow this guy? You better be some kind of leader.
I'd almost rather be named Sue.
Right? He was one of the most influential generals of his time, which was around the turn of the century.
Okay.
He was kind of out of the military, and this rich group, and you heard the names, J.P. Morgan. That's huge money.
Yep.
DuPont's, and the Bush's grandfather, whichever Bush you want to talk about. But they're all involved in this, and they reached out to him to say, we need military support. If you will tell your ex-military patriots to follow, they would follow. And that was the military support they needed.
Okay.
And being the true American hero he was, he spilled the beans. And he spilled the beans, went to Congress. People were knowing it. You can look it up. Look up Smedley Butler. I think you'll find out a bunch of information on this plan look up Google, all that stuff. Generally, though, because, again, the criminals run all the data, information, Wikipedia. Wikipedia is run by leftist maniac criminals that try to change history. And that's the whole thing. Remember a couple years ago, they're taking down statues. They want to erase history.
Yeah.
They did. And it's one of the most important things we need to teach in school. You might be bored by it, but really you shouldn't be, because if you don't know your history, what's the phrase? You're doomed to repeat it.
Yes.
You're doomed to repeat it if you don't know your history. Kids don't know history. Kids don't know what happened 10, 20 years ago.
Yes.
They don't know anything. And honestly, we're going to get into shows about COVID here in the future, but this COVID pandemic that happened just 5 years ago happened over 100 years ago. Do you know of the pandemic of 1917?
Was that the bubonic plague?
It was Spanish flu.
Okay.
Spanish flu, but they did the same things. They said you had to wear a mask back then. You had to wear a mask. You needed to get vaccinated. If you didn't, you were ostracized. They tried to do it again. And really, this is, and we'll get into this later in regards to the flus and stuff, viruses. Was it really a virus? Was it really a flu? Or was it a bacterial disease? Bacterial. So anyway, we'll get off that subject. We'll get back to the criminals we're talking about.
Okay.
And so, again, it was made aware that these people were behind this agenda, this conspiracy. And did you hear of anyone going to jail?
No.
No. Again, let's make the comparison to COVID. You heard Fauci. You heard all these people say you need to get vaccinated or you won't die. And then everything we found out now, if you haven't found this out, you're way behind the times. They lied about COVID from the get-go. Has anyone been prosecuted because of it? No.
Right.
Nothing. We're kind of going back from between COVID and Bush, but still the only, and this is in regards to COVID, still the only recommended treatment for COVID is to go into the hospital and go on remdesivir. When you go on remdesivir, they even had studies to show that half of the people that went on it died.
Right.
That's the only approved method of treatment for COVID currently still. And it's the most dangerous thing you could ever do.
I thought they have something else now.
Nothing approved by the CDC, NIH, our health officials.
Okay.
So would it make sense that they're really not out for our health? They're really not out for our benefit?
True.
And again, the point remains, how many people, when you look back on it, lied about this, lied about that, lied, should be responsible for the disastrous results we had? Where's the uproar? Where are people? How come they're not being held responsible? What about all the people in the media who said, get vaccinated, you're harming us, get vaccinated? Why haven't they been fired? Why hasn't anything happened? I hear it from my friends all the time who are already in the know on this. I already hear it on the know. And they say, when's the first arrest going to happen? It happened almost, 90 years ago. 90 years ago, they had a conspiracy to assassinate the president, and they were funding the Nazis. You don't know about it. You don't know about it. Why? And that's why. That's exactly why the show is called The Real Matrix. We're living in a bubble, a dream world that they are telling us. I mean, they're feeding us the information we want and that we know. We don't search down the information. And when the information is clear cut, we go, that's strange. And then we turn around and we go back to our baseball game or our dinner with our family.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. And that's why they continue to do it. That's why they continue to do it. The elites who kind of run the world, they're behind the scenes, and we're going to play in other shows, other clips, the fact that there's people really above the president, or they're sidestep the president, and they do things secretively. We always think, why isn't the president doing this? Why is the Listen, I know people that own businesses, run businesses. They have large people, a group of people under them, and they don't know half of what's going on in the business. They hire people to do their job, and you kind of oversee it, but you can't micromanage. Can you imagine being the president, Trump, right now, and trying to micromanage everything that's going on in the world?
Right.
You wouldn't have time.
No.
There's things that will come up that you never knew about. And when I talk about the people that kind of are behind the scenes that run stuff, do you think he knows everything that's going on in the CIA, FBI, CDC, NIH, all of these government organizations that carry on and do their thing? And what you've seen with Trump in the first part of his presidency is he's unhappy with what's going on. And he says, stop that, do this, do that. I'm going to do an executive order, blah, blah, do this, do that stuff. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. He said famously about the Kennedy information.
Files, yeah.
Kennedy files. Make it all public. Has it been made public?
Well, between that and Epstein.
Same thing. A perfect example. Epstein. Where's the information on that? You can tell them, hey, this is what we want. We want transparency. We want the information. And the people who are behind it, who are behind all these crimes, they've put their people in charge, and they just ignore. They ignore, they fight, they go to court, they go to this, they do that.
The thing to me that still blows my mind, Dave, I always go back to this. If you just had the DuPonts, the Bushes, Rockefellers, whoever.
Right.
I don't even know the Rockefellers are part of this. A small, tight-knit group. Uh-huh. Okay, you can keep some secrets, you can keep things away, but now suddenly you bring the general in. You know, again, my wife gets mad at me when I tie everything to sports. It's like, okay, people are mad at Torey Lovello with the Diamondbacks. Mm-hmm. Well, he just does what he's told because of its analytics. And if you're going to make a change at manager, you better make a change at general manager. And if you're going to make a change at general manager, to go up to the president, or is he not involved as it funnels its way down? And that's the stuff when you put it, that's a baseball game. Okay. Who cares?
Right. Exactly.
This is life.
Life.
Yes.
This is our future.
Yes.
This is the future of our country.
Yes.
Exactly.
And that, again, when you get that many people involved, how things don't come out. Like that video right there. Why hasn't somebody done a study on that and looked deeper into it?
That's my point, Dale. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. I mean, just think about the shows you've been on so far. The 9/11, all the information 9/11. Listen, there's some people can argue about the towers, but you can't argue, and this is going back, if you haven't heard this, go back to the previous shows. World Trade Center building number 7 could not have come down the way it came down. It wasn't hit by a plane, didn't have any great fires, and it collapsed in free fall speed less than 7 seconds.
Right.
How do you explain that? Yet, we have this 25 years later, and nobody's saying, who's responsible for this? Nobody. It's information straight in front of you. And I've told you, you say, well, why does it come out? There have been whistleblowers come out about everything. Basically, those movies and videos that we showed you were firemen or observers there, people that were firsthand there.
Right.
And they tell you what they heard, what they saw, what happened. What has happened to it? Where's the arrests?
Okay, now, you did bring it up, and I know you actually are kind of orderly today, so I don't want to get you too far out of order.
That's okay. I'm not orderly.
Because that's new. When you bring up Trump and or his administration said the RFK files are going to come out.
Yeah.
What are they saying why it's not out yet? Have they said anything? Or nobody asked them? Or nobody...
I want to definitely remind our listeners that I'm just a casual boob. I'm not. This is not my life. This is not my career. I don't have all the answers. Matter of fact, I don't think I have any answers. I'm providing questions for you. You tell me, why hasn't anything come out? Shouldn't something come out?
You would
I think something should come out. I see what happened at 9/11 at the Pentagon. Again, we show that there's no way an airplane could have went into the Pentagon and not have any wreckage.
Right.
So why isn't anything done about
why
that?
is that the only plane ever that's crashed with no black box? They always find the black box.
Same thing with the plane in Pennsylvania. There's no wreckage. How does a plane disintegrate? But every other plane crash, there's wreckage everywhere. Is it worth looking into? Is it worth questioning? Who's behind this? How did this happen? How does the narrative get out like that? Why isn't anyone trying to get to the real truth? I'm just pointing out questions. I don't have any. I missed the meeting with the global elite when they planned all this.
You weren't called in?
I was. You know what? I was sick that day. I missed that meeting. Of why they were doing all this.
Because of all this, the thing that probably, as I think about all of it, to me it's interesting, but the thing that concerns me most is the COVID. that was as much, in my mind, an experiment to see what we as Americans, I don't care about the rest of the world, but we as Americans, what we would submit ourselves to.
Ding, 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 ding. 100%, Dale. Ding, ding, ding.
And you were looked at as a uncontrollable idiot. Because you didn't believe it from the get-go. Yeah. And of course, you were not very quiet and demure about it. You went about it the Nash way.
So you're right. And can you now that you know what you know,
right?
If you would have been saying that 5 years ago, and you got the results that I got, that people just dismissed you.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Not just maybe just dismissed you, but like dismissed you as a friend,
right?
An acquaintance, whatever you were.
Thought you were an idiot. Thought you were crazy. Thought you were a conspiracy theorist. Again, conspiracy theories are undefeated. Pretty much. Once you give it that. Remember, listen, we can get into the Kennedy assassination. That was not a lone gunman. And I've got plenty of information to show about that. But there's just a lot more important things going on than dealing with the Kennedy assassination. And that's where the where the phrase conspiracy theory came from the Kennedy assassination, to say, hey, you're a loon to even think that
Right.
something's different. And
But tell me this: do you think some of this stuff going on around the world is to keep the administration busy enough to not look at the JFK stuff, to not look at the Epstein stuff? Because right now, if you go, all right, what's going on in the Middle East? What's going on around the country with the riots?
Ukraine, Russia.
All that stuff. You're going to go, hey, we're going to put a priority on the JFK records.
right.
And the people are going to, it's JFK.
Well, so if you're asking, again, most of these shows, I'm just pointing information out. I don't pretend to have answers, but in regards to everything I've seen, I'll just say this. Again, the elite who are trying to create a one world government, trying to disparage and ruin our lives, blue collar, regular Americans' lives, they've realized through all of this that's happened through the past years that even if you call them out and have proof of it, they just brush you aside. They brush you aside. They're doing what they do, which is create money from our taxes, and they money launder it right back to themselves. And it goes through the military-industrial complex. It's all of these people in power. That's where the money goes. The money doesn't go to us, regular blue-collar people, Americans, benefiting us. It goes to these small group of maniacs that are trying to
But to
control
me,
the
it
world.
doesn't even seem like a small group anymore, because when you look at the politicians, whether it's a Pelosi or this or that, how do you get involved with this? How do you get to be in the inner sanctum?
There's actually videos that I was going to show in this show and not, but it's you're part of these clubs. Actually, we'll get to this in this show. You heard them, the Skull and Bones group, the Bohemian Grove. It's where all these wealthy, elite people who think they're better than normal, casual, everyday Americans. They think they're better. They think they should be running things. They think things should be done their way.
So, do they get invited to be in these
Yes,
clubs,
they do.
like a Whisper Rock, Dave?
Yes,
you and I
do.
will never be asked
No.
to be a member of Whisper Rock.
That's correct. And that's the way usually things go. Think about it this, and I don't think that's abnormal. If you came into money and you wanted to start a golf club or just a club, a sewing club, whatever you want to join, whatever you want to have, and you said, well, I want people who are like me, that
Right.
I like, and those are the ones I'm going to invite. And they're going to be thinking, if they don't think like me, they're out. And so remember, I told you, this has been going on for well over 100 years.
Right.
When you've been doing this for well over 100 years and you are committed to this cause, you keep putting people in place that are like you. And then you grow and grow and grow. You might not have as much power as the people on top, but the people on top go, "Oh yeah, you think like me. You're right on. Like I'm going to get you this position." And it goes back to the point, and we'll go into we did the election show. I don't know if you weren't here, Dale. I don't remember the election show. We talked about how 2020 was fraudulent, but it's been fraudulent for years and years and years. And I said it then, and I'll say it again. You're not elected, you're selected. You're selected, and then they get you in. And I can show you clip after clip.
So what went wrong this time?
Where? This one?
Yeah.
There was so much support for Trump. I mean, so much. I mean, think about he would have a rally. 100,000 people show up. Biden or Harris have a rally. 20 people, 50 people.
More
I mean,
than that, but yeah.
Not much. Not much. Seriously.
Well, and I think the majority of Americans were tired of the way things were being run right now, from 20 to 24.
There's a lot of independents who probably think for themselves, but point is, I think they cheated to make it look close, so that 4 years from now, they can put in whoever they want to put in, and you won't question it. I mean, seriously, our country, everything comes down to 51% to 49% every election. Doesn't make sense, folks. Doesn't make sense. When the country was being ruined, you were made to stay inside. You were made to get a vaccine. The government 4 years ago with Biden was trying to do away with all of our freedoms. And we're like, 51-49. It's really close.
Yeah.
Could go either way. No. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. You make up your own opinion on that. How does that happen, Dale? How do every year it's 51 to 49%?
That I don't understand. I do understand the fact that when because the things usually have gone all right for me, and when things are going okay, you just kind of keep going along.
That's the way. Hey, you and 99.9% of everyone else.
But over the last, I would say, 10 years, I've become way, way, way more aware of things that have gone on. And good and bad. There have been some good. It hasn't all been bad.
I'm ruining I'm ruining you.
Yes.
I'm showing you all the criminal activity and the bad that's going on out there. These people are Satanists. And when I say that to people, they go, "What do you mean Satanists?" The people doesn't think that way. Now, you got to look at it this way, Dale. You're a religious man. Your wife's super religious. If you can worship God and good, you don't think there's people out there that can worship Satan and bad?
I would never doubt that.
Okay, I tell you what. I want to play. Hopefully, the next clip. I've lost track of what order they're coming in. We'll try to get to them in regards to. What's maybe some Satanists? If not, let's play the next clip, Riley, and I'll go with it. Oh, okay. So we're actually gonna world events do not occur by accident. They are made to happen, whether it is to do with national issues or commerce, and most of them are staged and managed by those who hold the purse strings, and that's some guy who's leader of the Labor Party, Secretary of State. Blah, blah, blah. That's someone who's inside and knows. William Carey, CIA director, says, "We'll know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false." And then from coming up, Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon says, "The American people don't believe anything until they see it on television." Well, we're on TV.
Be prepared for a major attack. But it won't be Osama bin Laden. It will be those behind the New World Order who once again want to take the guns and the freedom away from the American people, because we're the only ones left in the world who can oppose the destruction of freedom in the world and the implementation of a one-world totalitarian socialist government, and that is the goal. I wonder what Osama bin Laden's targets are supposed to be. And if they don't, if this doesn't materialize in the next 2 or 3 weeks, it will eventually materialize, because they haven't succeeded in getting the guns out of the hands of the American people, nor have they succeeded in taking our freedoms away. In fact, there's been a great awakening in this country and a big backlash against these Marxist, communist, puke-faced, lying, subversive, Nazi, jackbooted Gestapo thugs that is gaining momentum. And so I can tell you with a certainty, they must do something terrible.
Get ready. R. Yes, R. What do these two letters say? R. Yes, R. Sound it out. Get ready. R. What word? R. Yes, R. What do these two letters say? R. Yes, but all. This word the fast way. Get ready. Ball. Yes, ball. What do these two letters say? Ow. What do these two letters say? Ow. Yes, ow. Read this this word the fast way. Get ready. Sound. Yes, sound. Get ready to read all these words on this page without making a mistake. Look at the letter at the end and remember the sound it makes. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready to read this word the fast way. Get ready. Kid. Yes, kid. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. What word? Kid. Yes, kid. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready. Seal. What word? Seal. Yes, steel. Read these words the fast way. Get ready. Play. Yes, play. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready. Kit. Yes, kit. Get ready. Steel. Yes, steel. Get ready. Plane. Yes, plane. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Boys and girls, pick your reader up from under your seat. Open your book up to lesson 60 on page 153.
So I'm sorry I didn't set that up. You can go back and listen to that again. If you didn't hear, that was a satanic chant. They made the kids do it. That was George Bush in the schoolhouse in
The
Florida.
morning he learned.
Yeah, right away, right after that. And did you hear the words?
Yes.
Plane must hit steel. You tell me, Dale, is that a coincidence? The Satanists have to kind of tell you what's going on. I think we had this conversation before. If we haven't, I'll try to refresh.
Well, why is the kindergartner having to learn how to say bail?
Right, and right, and that's Baal, ball, however it's pronounced. That is another
evil
word for Satan.
Yes.
Right.
And they're teaching it to first graders?
And actually, after this, I didn't show the clip. They talk about the pet goat, and actually, I think Baal is a goat. And they talk about in the classroom. Excuse me. They talk about the pet goat, and so Satanists do this right in front of your face. That's how it works. Because if you don't argue and complain and say
right,
so they take that as acceptance, and that gives them the authority to continue to do that. That's how Satanists think. Now, I've looked into that. Maybe I'm wrong, but look into that. Think about that potential and say, is that possible? Because, as I said, generally when you tell people, oh, a Satanist, they go, there's no such Satanist. Who would worship the devil? But if you have enough people that worship God and good, you don't think there's people out there like that?
Hey, but how is Bush not just standing up and going, I don't know what this lesson plan is?
Because he's a Satanist. We're going to go to.
Jeez.
We're going to get to parts of what his background was. Well, again, anti-American, traitor, grandfather, Prescott Bush, and Riley, we do got to stop for second half of the show. But I want you to play. Do you have the case of the George Bush picture? It's just a picture of him. There it is right here. Now see that picture?
Yeah.
Now I'll read this. It says, why did Jeffrey Epstein have this portrait of George W. Bush playing with 2 paper airplanes and 2 toppled Jenga towers? Epstein had this portrait of Bush. And so does this have a correlation with 9/11? He's playing with an airplane and he has 2 towers of Jenga that have fallen. And he's smiling. So you tell me, why would Jeffrey Epstein have that portrait in his house? Tell you what.
Doesn't look good.
I'll let you think about it. We'll take a break, and we'll be right back here in The Real Matrix. Want to make your love life sizzle like a Phoenix summer? Summit Male Medical guarantees to help you with ED or premature issues, or we won't charge you. We've helped tens of thousands of patients here in the Valley since 2008. Please compare our most experienced medical staff and low-price treatments to anybody. If you've talked to the rest, it's time to come to the best. Put the sizzle back in your love life. 480-398-1000 or go to summitmalemedical.com. Summit Medical, love for life.